Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, they kept telling us it's a nothing claim, it's a nothing burger. Then, of course, the actual evidence dropped, and it seems as though it's a fully stacked burger. Triple patties, all dressed, all the goods, bacon and cheese between each patty. It turns out that all the claims related to Fani Willis and her lover boy, Nathan Wade, were actually true, and we have the bank transactions to prove it. So, of course, it's time for leftists to do what? You already know, move the goalposts. And so now the copium argument that we're hearing from the left is that, yeah, well, it did happen, but it's not really a big deal. It's not actually prosecutorial misconduct. No, Republicans are just playing defense for Donald Trump, trying to wiggle out of this one. But obviously, the only people here who are wiggling, attempting to avoid accountability for their actions, are Democrats, or probably more specifically, Fani Willis, because it seems as though not only does that argument not hold up, that Fani Willis didn't do anything wrong, it seems as though even Fani Willis is on record in a flashback clip, I think from 2019 or 2020, explaining to us in very sober words exactly why what she did was wrong, unacceptable, and should lead to a resignation or the firing of any individual who engages in such activity. Wow, absolutely amazing stuff, folks. Don't you love it when we can use leftist words against themselves? It's a beautiful thing. Don't you love these flashback moments? We got a scathing video to get into. The story continues. Fani Willis is done. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. Let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I guess today we're literally just rolling the tape. Just take a look.
It is saddening to me if young women felt like they came to work and they were, one, even judged for being a woman, but two, if certainly they felt uncomfortable within the workplace. That will not be something that is allowed on my watch. Supervisors under my leadership that are not encouraging and building up my staff will not be supervisors long in my administration. And I certainly will not be choosing people to date that work under me. Let me just say that. We are at a place in society where things happen in people's relationships, husband and wife. Sometimes there are outside relationships. I don't think that that's what the community is concerned about, although there might be a moral breaking in that. I think that what citizens are really, really concerned about is if you chose to have inappropriate contact with employees. I mean, there's nothing that I can say on it other than it is distracting. It is certainly inappropriate for the number one law enforcement officer in this state. And it really, really saddens me. And it will be very unfortunate if the taxpayers of this community have to pay for any of those lawsuits.
So that was a clip of Fani Willis from back in 2020 where she's essentially saying that she would fire any employee who sleeps with a coworker. And she promises not to date anybody that works under her, saying that it would be unfortunate if taxpayers were then on the hook having to fund sexual misconduct lawsuits. Wow. It's always too perfect. The absolute hypocrisy of these people, the gall to knowingly have been on the record talking to a crowd of people, lecturing them on the importance of not sleeping with coworkers, but more importantly, not dating or sleeping with people who work directly under you, and then to engage in that exact kind of behavior in the most high-profile case of your entire career. This shows a couple things. It shows the hypocrisy of these people, but it also shows just how untouchable they think they are. They know that there's two different standards. They know there's a standard for Donald Trump, there's a standard for Republicans, and then there's a standard for Democrats. Historically, that standard has been no standard at all. Pretty much do whatever you want, get away with it. Nancy Pelosi insider trading for decades. Why not? Joe Biden weaponizing the DOJ? No big deal. Hillary Clinton launching a shadow coup to unseat a duly elected president. Sounds like democracy to me. Bill Clinton being present on those infamous flights. Hey, he's a busy guy. He just had to get places. There's never any accountability for their actions, so why would they stop? Why would they worry? Why would they even think twice? Obviously, Fani Willis most likely thought that she had protection at the highest level. I mean, she had the might of the White House behind her, and so why not start up a relationship with a man who's married? Why not commit adultery? Who cares if anyone criticizes her? Play the race card, or simply label the ex-wife, signaling concern and bringing the story to light, a Republican operative. Lecture people one day on why taxpayer funds shouldn't be misappropriated in this kind of fashion, and then literally commit that same action in the most egregious manner possible. I mean, that's exactly what happened here. She's on the record warning against this exact thing, and then hires her lover boy under her, funnels all of this money through him, and then enriches herself. Based on her own standard, the only appropriate response here for Fani Willis is to fire herself. In other words, is to resign. And of course, for the case itself, to be totally dismissed. I share the same perspective as Byron Donalds.
Man, the Lord did not cause you to stumble into $600,000 of taxpayer money because you're sleeping with the dude who's the lead prosecutor. You thought you were going to get away, and so you try to get the church's money. That's what happened here, and you got caught. It's that simple. And look, should this case be thrown out? It should, because it is clear you have prosecutorial misconduct. Now that he was billing Fulton County DA's office for 24 hours of discovery, having meetings in Washington, D.C. with the White House counsel. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know that. Everybody knows that. But I got one other question. What does the White House counsel know? When did they know it? And what does Joe Biden know? And when did he know it? Because if they're meeting with the White House counsel's office, you can't tell me that they did not tell the president what was going on. She is in a long line of politicians who were trying to essentially take advantage of Trump to build their name ID. And she was also trying to get money in the process. Don't go into a black church and say, oh, pray for me. You did wrong, and you know you did wrong. You're in violation of any lawyer's ethics standards in any state in the country. Don't go to the church now asking for prayer and forgiveness. You knowingly did it, and you got caught. She should be removed. She should be disbarred.
It's called prosecutorial misconduct. Democrats want to pretend as if Fani Willis did nothing wrong, but Fani Willis did a whole lot of things wrong. And not by my definition, but by her definition. She's the one saying it, not me. So she should be held to her own standard that she would apply on others, because obviously that's what's fair, and this case should be dropped due to the clear conflict of interest here and the misconduct unearthed that her office engaged in. And as we know, when prosecutorial misconduct is exposed, there's only a couple viable remedies. A judge can do any of the following if he finds that the misconduct prejudiced the accused, dismiss the charges, admonish the jury to disregard certain evidence or comments, or grant a motion for a new trial. Obviously, the second option doesn't apply because the misconduct wasn't of the nature of presenting falsified evidence. So the two options here are either dismiss the charges or grant a motion for a new trial. Both of these options mean game over for the Democrats and their little election interference scam. I mean, as if Fani Willis's case wasn't already over. Her trial date is too far pushed back. They're not going to be able to wrap up ahead of the election cycle. Fani Willis has already admitted that. Well, at this point, Fani Willis shouldn't be involved in the trial at all. That's either going to push the date back even further, or we're going to see a new trial announced, or the case is dismissed entirely. If we see a new trial announced, I highly doubt the Democrats are going to bring charges again, considering it'll be after the election cycle and there's no reason to try to imprison Donald Trump unless he's surging in the polls. But this thing, at least to me, based on what I understand, is freaking over. They're accusing Donald Trump of being guilty of holding an opinion that they disagree with and they find is illegal. Donald Trump believed something, and therefore we're going to charge him under the RICO Act. Completely freaking insane. But at this point, all we've learned from this ridiculous case is that Fani Willis herself engaged in much worse actions and potential crimes than anything Donald Trump ever did or was found guilty of. I know leftoids were chomping at the bits of seeing Donald Trump in court once again, in trial, of course this time in Georgia, but what are they going to get in the end? I don't think it's going to be a Trump trial. It might actually be a Fani Willis trial. They want to remove Donald Trump from office so badly, but what they're going to get in the end is Fani Willis being removed from office, hopefully, if the right thing is done here. And so the goalposts are moving, and I guess after Donald Trump wins in 2024, it's going to be 4 more years of we'll get him this time, as the lunacy, as this charade continues on. I mean, you literally cannot make this stuff up, folks. Fani Willis, on the record, explaining to us exactly why what she did was so wrong. Sometimes things are just so perfect, it's hard to believe that they aren't divine. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.